We are starting. We're live.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Um, Welcome to the show. We're here. My name is Drew Cirillo, and everyone want to introduce themselves?
Well, I'm Jacob Adams, and today we have on our show Mr. Ender.
Ender and this is the wonderful.
Shalia Plant.
Right
And
on. And they are, they want to, well, you guys could probably describe it better than I could. You want to tell me what you guys do and share, I'd say what you do and kind of briefly tell your story. So tell us how you got to where you are right now.
Sure. So we help people find their soulmates or their divine complement. We help people develop themselves on their journey so that they can be with their perfect divine complement. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. We can go in depth as in depth as you like.
Well, no, I mean, well, we talked a little bit yesterday, and Drew, you guys are coming from all the way from the beautiful, exotic place of Hawaii, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
nice, beautiful Hawaii.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What part of Hawaii, by the way? Just out of curiosity, so our viewers can know where you're all from.
Yeah, we're on the east side of the Big Island in a little town called Hilo.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cool.
very nice.
And so you guys are soulmate experts, and I'm very curious because we were talking yesterday, and I was really impressed by a lot of the stuff that you were saying. I'm personally like a skeptic of this kind of stuff, and that's why I'm really excited to talk to you. You guys are really open about all this, and just willing to explain anything, which is really awesome. And what I want to know is, so where were you before, and how did you meet each other, and how did you, discover? How did you know that you were soulmates? All of that stuff. Just
awesome question.
Yeah.
So do you want to start with your story, Shalia, or should I start with mine?
I can start. So you had a couple kind of questions packed into one, so I'll may have to ask you to shoot the question.
yeah, that's okay.
So the first part was where was I before we met? Okay, so before Ender and I met, I was living in Sedona, Arizona, and I was kind of just gypsying around. I wasn't 100% sure what it is I wanted to do with my life. All I knew is I desired to have a lot of freedom. I also had an idea that maybe I would meet the man of my dreams in Sedona because it's kind of like a spiritual hotspot. And I guess I always identified myself as a spiritual person. And I was kind of gypsying around for a few years. Even before I was in Sedona, I went to school for a very long time, probably like 6 to 8 years of post-secondary. I did, well, I guess I'll give you like a brief background before we met. I mean, I basically was in school forever. I did graphic design, I majored in photography, then I was doing a double major in psychology and women's studies, and then I basically said, okay, enough with the books, enough with school, I need some real life experience, and I felt like I wasn't really prepared. No one in life prepared me for real life, but a pattern that I noticed was my desire to find the perfect match for me, the man, my man, not just any man or a man. And so with that on my mind, I had this idea in my head that I needed to travel and I needed to get more life experience and I needed to meet men where I think that would complement me in certain places. I didn't have the idea in my mind that I could meet someone online yet. To me, that was kind of not in my paradigm. So what ended up leading me to where I am now was really holding fast and true that I would attract him if I followed and listened to my heart. And I believe that my heart knows what it desires better than sometimes I do, or my mind. And so I'd make these choices like, I got to move here, and I got to take this job, and I got to do this. But what ended up really happening was my realization that this journey was really about me. It wasn't so much about finding a man to complete me. The journey was never about that, because I noticed as long as I kept taking that sort of mentality, I kept running into men or dating men who felt incomplete in themselves, and I realized they were just reflecting me. So I was in a really shitty relationship for 2 years, about 3-4 years ago, and it was I don't want to say, it was abusive. I'll just say it wasn't like physically abusive. I don't know. It was like a BDSM relationship. So it wasn't like, oh, it's so bad. It was very limiting. I felt very limited, and many times I felt oppressed. And when I decided to move out of that relationship, I was like, I'm going to take a 3-year hiatus. I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to like sit down and figure this out. Like, what is it that I am missing in my conscious awareness that is not bringing to me my desire? And I knew I deserved a man who would perfectly complement me in every way. Not complete me, but complement me. So fast forward to today, I was in a year ago, fast forward a year ago, I met a different man who on the surface looked and felt like someone who I would really, really resonate with, and everything on paper said, oh my gosh, this is the one, this is the guy, right? And we quickly moved in together, and shortly thereafter, the relationship began to disintegrate. We were butting heads. We weren't getting along together at all. It was getting a little crazy, and I realized this is not the partnership I desire. This is severely imbalanced and already really unhealthy. So I started writing down what I called the love list, and I was able to describe in like 3-4 pages precisely the man that I desired to live the rest of my life with. And when I did that, I also made the choice at the exact same time to be 100% completely satisfied and happy with my life if it never came true. Now, in my heart of hearts, I really wanted it to happen, but I was also prepared to be like, if I'm not going to settle, I would rather be alone than settle. I'd rather just have a lot of good friends, keep my family close, maybe have, have a baby in my mid-30s. I'll just find some hot guy or whatever. I was preparing myself to be, I'm okay with me. I'm okay with this.
So,
but,
can I ask you a question just really quickly about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Drew, I have to say, I love her story. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
About it. Love it. Love the story so far.
Oh, cool. All right. I just wanted to ask you, is that something that's particular to you? Like having to let go of needing to be in a relationship and just saying I'm okay if nothing ever happens? Is that something particular to you, or would you recommend that for like everyone?
Well, for me, because it worked for me, it's true for me. And I would like to say that it probably would be true for everyone if they too applied that same principle and just let it go. Stop clinging, stop clutching, stop trying to mold the person that you're with or mold the person that you think you desire to be with to be that person for you. But it is really important to get clear about it, and it is really important, and still is very important for me to let those things go. I mean, even in our relationship now, we'll go back to our love list and we'll keep tacking it on. And we'll just let it go. We'll just, you know, I'll say God a lot probably in this thing because I believe in higher power. And I just let it go to God, like, hey, you know. But I think it is very important to just be in a state of complete surrender. And that is the state when you can truly, or when I truly started opening up and being my most authentic self. And I'd radiate everywhere. And I was getting men who were more and more attracted to me. This is fast forward now in Sedona. They're more and more attracted to me. But I didn't feel like I needed to be drawn into their attraction. Be like, oh, baby, I know you think I'm sexy, and I know we could probably have some fun. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, that's not going to make me feel good in the long run. That is not sustainable happiness for me. It may be for somebody else, but for me, that wasn't authentic and true for me. And I felt, you know, after having a plethora of relationships, I've you know, had a lot of dating experience with men. And so I was like, well, I know that if I keep hitting my head like this, it's going to keep hurting like this. So maybe I should make a different choice. And when I started making a different choice for myself, I had a lot more confidence and trust in myself, and a lot more confidence and trust in the process that I would attract the person who would be best for me, the one that I desired. I wasn't willing to settle anymore. And when that time came, when my whole life started to shift. And that's when a couple months later, when I wrote down that list and I made that decree, I was in fulfilling life with or without a person, it really set forward in a strong momentum to attract my most perfect complement. Now, that doesn't mean we're in the most perfect relationship. We're just like any other normal couple. We fight, we bicker, we disagree. We're two different people, but it's how we handle these differences that strengthens our relationship and assists us to make a different choice the next time issues come up. It could be the same issue about the damn dishes, but we make a different choice each time, or someone has an attitude, whatever. So when Ender started appearing into my life, I wasn't even aware that he was the one. I was open to it, but I didn't have my hope set on it per se. I was just going to enter into it as a friend, you know, as someone who was very curious about him and wanted to develop some level of intimacy. I desired for him, if it was him, to get to know me on a deeper level than anybody else I had encountered at that time. And this was almost a year ago, back in winter time. So we met on Facebook. Over Facebook, we have a mutual friend, a real life friend that suggested that we be friends. And it took about a year until we did finally start chatting and opened up the dialogue and became, just start sharing ourselves. And then we go a little deeper. And then we'd share a little bit more, and then we go deeper. And I feel like that process is still true for us today. We're still sharing ourselves, and we're sharing deeper levels and parts of ourselves. And I think that's what makes this relationship for me most unique and most intimate, because I've never gone to this level with someone. Nobody in this world, not even my parents, know me as deeply as this man does. So, yeah, so there's a little bit about me. And then some.
Very, very good.
Well, I love it. I can't wait. And I know we have some questions. We have a few viewers, and we have some questions. So, Drew, go first. I know you got something to say.
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna, talk about my thoughts about that. But if we have,
please. I'm just saying I'm excited because it was such. She
there
gave
was
us a lot
in there. I actually wrote down something that you said because I wanted to remember it, and it was, well, I wrote down complete versus complement. So you said versus someone who completes you versus someone who compliments you. How do you know, like, what is the differentiation there, and like, what are the, I guess, attribute, like, explain that.
Okay, very good question. Thank you. What I meant by having someone compliment me versus complete me, if I have a thought or belief in any way that says I am not complete unless such and such and such, then that kind of puts me in a codependent state.
Oh, I
Meaning,
see.
yeah, like I am not going to be happy until blah 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 blah. So for me, it came down to, and I'm still learning to love and accept myself and realize that I am already a complete being without him. And the compliment part, meaning, what is it in each other that we're complimenting, because that's going to be amplified. And so I was looking for someone who would compliment my most direct, powerful, and positive attributes. You know, being loving, being funny, being deep, being generous, being intimate, being emotionally open, being weird and silly, all those things and beautiful, graceful. It could go on and on. Those were the things I was like, yes, I want someone who will compliment me, not complete me, because if I'm looking for someone to complete me, I will keep attracting people who are incomplete within themselves and are looking for, they want a piece of me. They want a piece of me, but what they don't realize is the light in me that they're desiring is the light in them that they need to be embracing to be complete and to be happy.
Wow.
Okay, that was freaking awesome.
Very
And
good.
Drew, I'd love to say something there, and we have a viewer's question. So, whenever, do you have one more, Drew?
Oh no, go on. I'd like to hear the viewer's question.
Okay. Well, if somebody would have told me, oh, by the way, we do have a question that, and I'll get to that right now to the viewer. She's coming out, I think, Seattle, I think she said. Yeah, Seattle. And she has a similar story to you she met on Facebook. She's asking about twin flames and the whole bit. But before I lose a thought, ego, when I was in my 20, 21, 22, the early 20s, I don't think I really cared about the concept of ego and what is soul and whatever. I was sort of an agnostic. And so when I hear you say about complete, you know, I don't know. I don't know if there's a turning point when people understand that there is such a thing as complete onto yourself. And unfortunately, I could say that I was one of those people that felt that a relationship does complete me. And to develop a life where you don't need that to complete you is such a big leap. It's a huge leap. And to actually cultivate that wholeness has been a really, really big challenge for me. I've used meditation, and I don't know if I'm still there even. I don't think I am. I'd love your feedback on that, on what I said, and then just quick, before you answer that, were you 3 years without dating then? I heard you say something about celibacy, sort of.
No, I wasn't celibate. During those 3 years, I decided I wasn't going to enter a committed monogamous relationship. So I kind of played around with poly for a little bit, and I went on dates, and there was one summer where I had about 2 or 3 lovers at once, or I guess that's the poly thing. But in the back of my mind,
are you all as like, because I'm looking at you guys, I'm impressed with the way you all are so comfortable with these facts that some people maybe hide from each other, or, you know, and I'm watching you guys, and that's sort of, I mean, that's kind of a soulmate trait, I think, to be like honest, and Andrew's just there like, these are the things I know, these are the things I know. and for whatever it is, because I think some people, and I like to bring up the word jealousy because I've had jealousy as an issue in my relationships. I have, and I know people have too. So
Yes.
just would love to hear before our conversation is over today. I'd love for you all to talk about jealousy because I know it tears relationships apart. I know it does. It's
Yeah.
happened to me. And what's your take on that? On the other aspects I said, as far as knowing that you have to be complete unto yourself. I mean, Oprah has said that. She's like,
Oh,
you're not
okay.
looking for someone. You're not looking for one half. You're looking for two wholes to make it. Or one of my mentors said, he says, two ones don't make a two. They make an 11. That's one of my mentors said that. He says two ones or two whole ones don't make a two. They make an 11.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just like a thing, So anyway, so what's your thoughts on that? On this paradigm of, if you go tell someone that's got all their limbs, they have a brain, they have an education. Like you were saying, you were very well educated. You got the degrees in photography, women's studies. You were well versed. You were confident in your dating abilities. You probably were brought up pretty well. I mean, I don't know. You didn't talk about that, so I'm assuming based on just the way you talk, you probably were brought up pretty well with two parents and love. So if you took
No,
an average,
actually,
I would have come up to you and said, "Hey, Shayla, Shalia,
Leah.
Shalia, apologize for that. Shalia, you are not whole." What would you have said if you were 21 or something?
Well, I believed that thought at that time, so it would be easier for me back then to agree with you and be like, no, I'm not whole because my heart is heavy and sad and I feel like I'm missing love in my life. Love in a general sense. It wasn't just from another person. But what my real turning point was realizing that I can choose to be happy now, or I can choose to feel unfulfilled for the rest of my life. And it doesn't matter if I'm in a partnership with somebody or not, because at the end of the day, when I'm lying in bed, I'm with myself. It's always me that I'm with. So even though we're in the same room, we're still alone. So
Yeah,
I
right
had to start
there.
looking at that.
Yeah, that's a really, really awesome moment. How many people, in your honest, humble observation, um, do you think maybe out there not realizing that yet? Or in other words, what I'm saying is I don't know if people realize that, because it took me a long time to come around to think I'm not whole. If you would have told me I'm not
Well,
whole at 26, I would have been like, look at me, I'm whole. I am whole. Like,
Yeah,
so
for me, it's a deeper conversation that one would have to have with themselves. And it's just about being really honest and looking around at your external world as an indication of what's happening inside of yourself. When the inner world becomes the priority, everything about you will change. So I understand that when if I'm feeling in any way separate from God, I'll say God, or separate from the higher powers, or separate from everything that all is, I am basically in a state of illusion and disharmony. But when I start to align my mind and say, I am one with life, I am one with humanity, I am one with God, I am one with all that is. It shifts my entire consciousness and it shifts my frequency into a state where I am relating to everybody and everything around me as if we are already one being. And one of the most powerful realizations occurred to me in meditation, where I realized, isn't it funny that we pluralize a singular? Meaning, if we are all one, we is, there's so many. We're singularizing a plural here. And I started to really go within and find, well, what in that in me is true? How am I separate from everything else? Well, I'm not. I can't be. So I'm not sure if that explains that a bit. One thing I would like to
I think it
correct
really
though
does. Yeah, I think
is
it really does. Because our viewer's been waiting for her question, I would like to let me ask her question. This is Caitlin. Her name is or Kitty Slocum from Seattle. This is her background. She says, "I believe I met someone incredibly special. We both believe we have dreamt of each other before we met. And the instant we met, it's like the world stopped. He's about 10 years older than me. We met on Facebook with a mutual friend. We've been together for a year or so." Smiley face. "I don't know if I understand the difference between soulmates and twin flames.
okay.
Can you elaborate on that? I think this man is my twin flame."
Sure. You want me to?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So great question, and one that I am fairly versed in. The difference between soulmates and twin flames is that a soulmate can be anybody that we are most or very most kindred with in our lives. So it could be your best friend, it could be your child, it could be your parent, it could be your pet, it could be your neighbor that you may or may not even like all that much. But the point is that a soulmate is there to accompany you on your journey, to kind of present either challenges or to open you up to more love. That's my personal belief. Now, the difference with the twin flame is now we're talking about the nature of the soul. And the way that this works is with the soul, there's basically like, okay, how can I say this? So the soul has the opportunity to split off into two different, I call them rays. So it's like there's a sun and the sun splits off into rays. Well, so is the same concept with the soul. We're just talking on almost a microcosmic level. So when the soul decides to split off, it takes certain attributes or complements of itself and puts it into an individualized form. So Ender and I are also twin flames, as we have discovered in our experiences together, and for me in meditations, because I'm very connected to spirit and spirit guides, my spirit guides. So when the vision came to me, I saw that our faces were merged as one, and that we were merging as one being. And I'm like, oh, this is what's going on. And I have been united with soulmates in the past, but what made this one different was the high level of love and the high level of magnetism that occurred between us, specifically when we first met. So I'm not sure if that completely answered her question about what are twin flames versus soulmates, but twin flame is basically you're the same being in 2 or 3 or 4, which most people don't talk about, individualizations. So the beauty with twin flames is they are most concentrated in what it is that you need and desire in a partner. And twin flames are also here on the planet at this time, coming in multitudes than ever before on the planet to ground the high vibrational energies or frequencies of divine love. And when a soul is completely merged together as twin flames, it will amplify that energy much more strongly than just soulmates. And part of this is because twin flames are here for a purpose. They're here for a mission.
So we believe that part of our twin flame mission is to help other twin flames and other soulmates come together into divine union.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
I want my twin flame. That's all I can say. I mean, I want to know my twin flame right now.
So here's my question. If you're with someone, or maybe you're by yourself, or maybe you're with someone in a relationship, and you're not sure whether that person, you know, is your twin flame, or, like, I don't want to say just a soulmate, but just a soulmate.
Soulmates are very powerful
Like,
connection.
you said I don't want to say just a soulmate, but just a
like,
soulmate.
oh, just a soulmate. Don't worry about it. But so like, what is something what is a couple things that you can do to figure out and like progress and see if that person is your soulmate or like your twin flame.
Even if I take this one.
Go, please. Yeah.
So Shalia had spoken about it briefly earlier in the interview, and it's the love list. When she broke up with her last messy relationship that seemed to be exactly everything she wanted and ended up being everything she didn't want, she was provided with a lot of contrast. And that contrast, which is everything that she didn't want in a relationship, helped her point her towards everything she did desire in a relationship.
Yeah.
So like she said, she wrote 3 or 4 pages of everything she desired in a relationship. And we call this a love list. So you don't necessarily need to be in a really nasty, messy relationship. In fact, we evolve our love list in this wonderful relationship. So what the love list is, it's everything inside of your heart that you desire in your perfect partner. And you write those down.
Mm.
And then you go through your love list and you say, okay, these are my deal breakers, we call them. The most potent things on the list that you absolutely could not have a perfect partner without.
Mm-hmm.
Like for us, it was my perfect partner must be aligned on my spiritual path. And we had a bunch of other things, right? Like, on my love list, she had to be into Reiki, and she had to be into fitness, and she had to be really spiritual, and she had to be really beautiful to me, and all these things, right? But one of my deal breakers was that she had to be aligned on my spiritual path, and we had to grow together on that. And if she had every other single thing on my love list but one of those deal breakers, if she was an atheist and had absolutely no intention of opening up spiritually, then it was clear to me that this person at this time is not my perfect divine complement. So you can do this for yourself at home to discover whether or not you're with your perfect divine complement at this time. You write down all the things that you desire in a partner. And you say, these things absolutely must exist in my perfect divine complement because I know in my heart they must. And if you're with that person, you're like, wow, they do have this. Well, they kind of really do have this, but they really don't exhibit it too much, but they're working on it, and that's still okay. But if your partner absolutely doesn't have this, and your relationship is like, whoa, what is going on? Like, you're probably not with your perfect divine complement at this time, and they're probably screaming at you, trying to show you that they're not your divine complement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Well, Kate does have a question. Drew, please. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, I was just going to add a thought to that. It's like it sounded like when you were saying that is that the love list you're never actually done with it. It's
right.
Just something that keeps going on and on and on.
Right.
Because you can't be like, oh, I have my love list and it's complete and forever. I can just put it on my wall and look at it and I don't have to do it. Like it's like you.
People are ever evolving.
Keeps going.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So there was just one quick thing, I hope you don't mind, if I could clarify, was some of the differences in our background, because it was, I think Jacob briefly mentioned that, and I said yes, about being well brought up. And I was very well brought up, but I think what we bring to the table in our coaching is the differences in our background, because I actually come from a broken home. My parents divorced when I was 9 years old, and it was kind of messy. My dad was more or less out of the picture, and then my mom died of cancer, and I was 15. So I felt like I was really in the dark in many ways when it came to relationships and marriages and how men and women relate to each other. So.
And on the other hand, I've got the opposite of that, where I was brought up in a nuclear family, 2 parents who were together, my mom and dad met when my mom was 18, my dad was my mom's first real love and boyfriend, and they dated for 7 years and then got married and did the whole, the whole American dream thing, and that's the environment I was raised in. So, we bring a lot of complement and contrast, and that's just one example of what it's like. But in a whole, so many facets of ourselves in our lives, we're not the same person. I mean, in a soul level, we're the same soul, right? But we're bringing totally different facets of each other. You know, one part of me, I'm very fiery and intense and passionate, and Shalia is very grounded and cool and calm.
Okay, so to recap, I have some really good stuff, and Kate has a question. She really appreciates the response you gave her, Kate from Seattle. Okay, so she really appreciates your answer, and she thought it was really good, and she has a follow-up. I have two really good questions here. One has to do with what it's called, because you said something awesome, and it was about broken home, Shalia, and Ender, you said more standard nuclear family type upbringing. And so, you know, I was going through some stuff, some research, and there's these concepts called wounded child and adaptive adolescent. Have you heard of these?
I've heard of the wounded child.
I've heard of those, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and so...
Okay, I haven't heard of that one, but I've heard of wounded child.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, it goes into how a functional adult is when a person is complete. In other words, when you were saying when the person sort of develops themselves spiritually, financially, physically, they develop the facets of their life, so they're complete. Okay, so they're a functional adult. This person still has needs. This person is still, you know, they're not perfect, but they're able to say, you know what, I need some respect, and I don't feel I'm getting it. Does that make sense? Versus, you know, like I'm mad now, you know, so that might be more an adaptive adolescent behavior. And so then, so an adaptive adolescent, which is, so I related more to that, which is intense, looking for the next party, the next drink, the next lift, the next something, the next sensation to get me passionate. That's an adaptive adolescent personality to some degree. And then a wounded child can sometimes be more depressed, more looking for love, to be completed, to be taken care of, more needy. And then the adaptive adolescent is less needy, almost like I don't need anyone. And then the functional adult knows, again, their needs, and they're willing to express them, but they know that what they need to take care of on their own. So if I may ask, without leading, who would you identify more? Is that pattern there with you all? Is one of you was more the wounded child, and the other person adolescent? And again, this comes from a good place. This is really.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. To me, both the wounded child and the adaptive adolescent are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
It's just they're both going in a different direction, but they're both desiring the same thing, which is love, stability, and security and trust. So there are times, because we're just like everybody else, we're still working on our healing, where patterns will come up. My wounded child will come up. I have very clear patterns of abandonment that I'm working through.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, the abandonment thing.
Yeah, and the pink elephant in the room of America is fatherlessness. And most people that are listening and that are all around us in some way, or we know somebody that is dealing with fatherlessness. Now, that doesn't always include the fact that parents don't divorce, so I don't experience fatherlessness. Well, yes, you do. Why? Because the father, in some way, is still absent. He's absent because he's called out of the house to work. He's absent because for decades, centuries, it was told that it was not his role to be involved in the family, to be an involved, active, loving parent. So there's this huge missing piece in our psyche of the father. And that's where I believe some of these religions that are very based on having a father God can be really handy when we look at the positive attributes of Father God and applying that into our own lives if we feel that we are experiencing any sort of absent fatherlessness. Because this is something that's going to be haunting families of America until it's actually solved, until the man inside, the masculine energy inside, this goes for women too, comes home to be the father, comes home to be the lover, comes home to be the God divine self being that he is here and called to do, to be the warrior, to protect what is good. So,
I'm a
thank
fan.
you.
I'm a fan. You got my vote.
Yeah, I like
You got my vote. You guys got my vote. I love it. I love the story. It's ironclad. I mean, in success, whether you're just trying to make a business, whether you're
We're just really here to start a conversation, Jacob. I mean, the business is kind of it's part, obviously, it's a big piece of what it is, of what we do, but
the business is how we get our message out to the planet.
But exactly, yeah.
No, I'm only saying that in anything in life, whether I think your worst, though, the worst critiques someone would give you is, well, you don't know if that's your soulmate. Like, in other words, that's the worst critique you can possibly hear, because everything you're saying resonates with a lot of really kind of a common sense. In other words, we typically understand that a man and a woman and a father figure and not abandoning it and all these things, we can all sort of vote in general that these are healthy things. I don't really think someone's going to say, I don't like what Shalia said right there. Like, it's pretty sound. I think the more abstract things for a general population is the concept of a twin flame, because we've all heard soulmates, and I think that's already so hard to people to get.
Right.
For people to make that jump, where they're like, well, I was looking for my soulmate, but then I decided to go for my twin flame. You know what I mean? So that's more for someone like me. I've never heard of that. Which brings us to Kate's question. She said, well, she is very spiritually in tune, and her partner is open to it, but really isn't as spiritual as her. I feel that when I met him, my purpose felt my purpose felt like I needed to raise consciousness in others through example with our relationship. But again, he isn't that spiritual, but he fully supports me and is very open to it. Very open to it.
Yeah.
Is this normal? Does this mean he isn't a twin flame because he isn't on the same page? That's a tough question. I want to tell you.
That is great. I love that question.
That's a tough question.
I'm going to get some popcorn here.
Do you mind if I answer this
No,
one?
not at all.
He could still be your twin flame just because he may not be resonating at the same level that you are in your level of awareness of spiritual matters. What's most important is that you allow him to unfold and bloom in his own path and not put forth any sort of expectations or desires on him that are not in his own best and highest interest or aligned with his soul's path at this time. I've been in that situation, oh my God, 99% of the time, where I was clearly more, I'll say, spiritually evolved than my partner. I was a lot more aware of metaphysics, and I was a student. I'm a student of life. I study the universe. I study sacred geometry. That's a really huge thing for me. But Ender is also. He is on the same level as I am, but he is more on the experiential end. So if I want to open up some in-depth metaphysical book like the Flower of Life, he's like, I don't know what's going on, but he's open to it. So, so that's really important, but I don't push it on him. Nobody likes to be pushed on by anybody. So as long as you just allow him the space to grow into it, just do you. That's the best thing that you can do, is keep doing you, and he may eventually be inspired to kind of jump on board with you. But if not, be prepared. And if it's really that important to you, to have if that's a core thing, and that's a core thing for you, and it could be a deal breaker, then really take a look at that. Like for me, it was a deal breaker to not be with somebody who didn't at least resonate with my levels of truth, my levels of understanding of the universe. For some people, I have friends where it doesn't matter. That's not a core pillar in their life. Though they do believe in a soul, they don't need to be with somebody who is also open to that concept or to that idea or that level of reality to make it work and be in a happy, functioning relationship. It's about identifying what really is most important to you to be in a happy, fulfilling relationship. So, hope I answered that.
I think it did.
I have a question.
Yeah, good.
So if, let's say that, like, let's pretend that is a deal breaker for her, does that mean that he's not her twin flame? Like,
Oh gosh, no. He'll always be your twin flame for eternity. You can't run away from that. But what it means is that if it doesn't feel right for you to be with him at that time, then it may be in your soul's alignment or path to maybe take a break or to go somewhere else. I have had the pleasure of being roommates with in two different situations with people who were twin flames, and one set of flames, it just blew up. They didn't work out. They weren't willing to level with each other and work through their stuff. Like, in my opinion, there's no reason why twin flames can't be together. But if it's truly a destructive and inharmonious relationship that really is unhealthy to be in, then it is good to part ways and maybe stay friends or take a break, or maybe even not. Maybe it just, everybody still has free choice on this planet. So they'll always be your twin flame, and you may meet them at another time, but just really about their victory. Hold them in the light. Pray that everything is in alignment, that God is in action no matter what. So that is something that definitely comes up with twin flames.
It's
So
really
that's
nothing.
really
You know what I love the most about what you all are saying is that you're putting in, you're hinting at, and it's embedded in what you're saying is this is work to find that person, and it's also work to be with them, but it's awesome, and it's like
but it's worth
Yeah.
it, right? It's
it's
way worth
worth it. But I think when I think of soulmate, you know, I grew up with listening to The Cure and love songs. You know, for me, I thought you just see the person, you fall in love with them, and then life's peachy. That's a soulmate. I didn't really understand till, I mean, it's taken studies of, we were talking about Paramahansa Yogananda yesterday, Paramahansa Yogananda teachings, meditation, spiritual religions, agnostic, atheism, and to just be like, okay, if I pray and I meditate and I behave, I may be able to find my soulmate. So, you know what I mean? It's been like a big process but I love what you said about what y'all were saying about that these people, the soulmate is someone that you're kindred with and will help you, will be a company to you and also present challenges for you to develop. And when you said that, I automatically thought of my last girlfriend. I said, that person, and maybe I've met my girlfriends have been soulmates in that respect because they've allowed me to be better a person. And even though the relationship went away, and I'll tell you this, my first girlfriend from many years ago, I was on the phone with her the other day, not the other day recently, but like months ago. And years had passed, like 6 years since we got talked. And I called her and I go, and she was meditating and so was I. And we hadn't talked in 6 years. And I felt such a connection. Like, wow, like I love this person, not sexually, not for anything, any gain, but just because they're on this earth experiencing this life with me. And we have this story, and we're both growing because of knowing each other. So it was a very sincere love. It was like the cleanest form of love I've experienced for a woman. In other words, not romantic, not for sex, not for, you know, the immediate pleasure. It was just, look, she has kids now. I'm like, nothing makes me happier than to know that she's happy and following God. And And does that make sense? So that's why I really like what you said there.
Totally. Yeah, this is a big piece of our business that we talk about with our clients, is this new paradigm of relationships that we're moving into out of the old blueprint of relationships, of how we related to each other. And the purpose of the coupling for centuries was not for love. It was, and many times to survive. It was alliances. It was a marriage of convenience, whatever. We all know that this idea of marrying for love is relatively new, basically within the past century. So that being said, with the onslaught of the women's movement that occurred in the 70s, there is this real desire for something new to occur in relationships between men and women. Women wanted something different. And men also want something different in their relationships and their marriages than what they were getting in the past. And the fact is that there isn't a whole lot of role models. There isn't a whole lot of discourse about any of this from the past that would help apply us to where it is that we want to go now and what the new vision of relationships is. So the old paradigm of relationships is this whole meeting the person and falling in love with them on a physical level. You know, like, oh, you're so sexy, you're so hot, hey, can I get your number? Yeah, sure. And then you go out on a date or two, and then you have sex. But that's a very what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a very stable way to create a long-lasting relationship and marriage if that is what it is that you're ultimately desiring. And this new way, this new concept or new paradigm of relationships that we're now moving into in this new age of the 21st century is relating to each other and falling in love on a soul level first. So when you fall in love on the soul, then you fall in love with your minds, your intelligence, your intellect, and then you fall in love, well, the heart is the same thing as your soul, but then your bodies come together last. This is a point that I'm trying to make, is that you fall in love with your soul first, and your bodies come together last. And when you fall in love on that level, and that's the level I think you're trying to talk about, there was this just pure love. It's not like I'm in love with Ender for all the right reasons. And I knew that, and I know that in my heart of hearts, and sex never got in the way. And we were in a long-distance relationship, so that kind of, we weren't able to be physical with each other. But what it gave us was a foundation for our passion to flourish, as opposed to in the past when I was following the old blueprint and I'd want to solidify the bond really fast, like most women want to do. There's no solid foundation, and it catches on fire, and then it's done. It's gone. That's what happened to me a year ago when I met my ex. I was like, why is this falling to pieces? Oh, well, I didn't really have anything put in place to support this relationship that I'm desiring, to support this passion, to support this intimacy. I didn't really get to know him on a long-term basis. I wasn't even really friends with him. No wonder it went to shit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so what we're working with in couples and with individuals in our business is really focusing on this new concept of falling in love with the soul first, falling in love with your soul first, and having that soulmate twin flame relationship with yourself and bringing that to the table when you're ready to invite a man or a woman into your life, or deepening that intimacy when you are already partnered or coupled.
And don't get us wrong, you don't have to be a perfect person with perfect, totally aligned spiritual values and you're totally on the path, right, to attract your soulmate or your twin flame. That's simply not true. We were both in really rough places in our life when we met, but the important point was that we knew that we were desiring this person in our lives, and we were clear with that feeling that we wanted to attract into our lives.
Yeah.
Almost like the law of, okay, don't shoot me in your mind right now. Okay, the law of attraction, like the law of, I don't like that name. I just like what it is.
I like what it does, but I don't like what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. The name
Yeah.
lost
No, I understand. It's
a
kind
lot
of
of
in
the
water.
name lost a lot with
Than,
The Secret. Like it lost a lot of its ness, with The Secret. However, I
We had
can
a lot of
vouch.
cheesy diagrams and stuff with people going, and then there were like waves shooting from out their head. I thought that was really cheesy.
yeah,
Anyway,
I felt psychically attacked during
You
that
know,
whole.
what's funny is that it's usually people that believe in the law of attraction and The Secret and have watched that video, as corny as it is, usually find themselves being close friends of mine, and
Yeah.
and it's not so much that the DVD did the magic, is that they believe deep within their intrinsic self that they are magnets. Like in their subconscious, I believe it's operating, and truly, whether they're having a bad day, a shitty day, a great day, it's
Yeah.
creating this reality of magnetism
Totally.
through the days, through the months. Like the Grand Canyon was formed over many thousands of years. In that
Yeah.
same way, I believe the law of attraction works. It may take 20 years to attract what. If you have this huge dream, it may
Yeah.
take 20 years to attract it. However, if you believe and you keep cultivating and acting and attracting, I believe that is going to, on some level, manifest itself.
Yeah, if you get out of your own way, your manifestations will appear much more quicker because you're not stifling them with thoughts that would counter your desire. Now, there are many things that I did like about the movie The Secret. There are things that I was like, I don't know, like I felt it was very materialistic, but at the same time, I believe it was trying to reach a general populace and trying to coin and popularize the term the law of attraction. Einstein and Edison both spoke about and proved that everybody's brain is basically a sender and receiver of energy, of radiation. And that's exactly how that's the major premise of how the law of attraction works. Is the
Yeah.
brain antenna. It's always beaming and shooting out vibrations, which is basically
You're not the only one. It was actually some professor, someone that mentioned that we are receiving and transmitting, and the brain is more. I can't recall what it was. It was this recent study. It was a recent, huh?
The transmitter for sending and
Like,
receiving energies. That what he was saying.
I don't know where it was. It was an important finding, and it excited me because it was like a scientific discovery saying that. Well, I think it was after flow state last week, Drew. I think it was after flow state that we are beginning to understand. Science is beginning to tap the forefront that our brain is not only thinking, it's also receiving and transmitting. I don't know where I got it anymore because I processed so much data in about a week. So yeah. So okay, I have some great questions. I have some really good stuff. Drew, do you have anything?
Oh no, let's get to the questions.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we have any more. Oh yeah, Robert. What am I saying? Robert, who is in Hawaii with y'all, has asked this question. Robert is let me see. Okay. Here's his question. Robert says, "We grow, and sometimes our partner doesn't grow with us. If we grow, and our soulmate doesn't, does that still make okay, it was a typo, so I'm gonna just kind of, okay, if we grow and our soulmate doesn't, does that still make them our soulmate, or does that discredit them? In a person's life, how many twin flames and soulmates can one have? Which is similar to the questions I had, so I love that you asked.
No, yeah, go definitely.
Okay, so
I'll repeat it.
First half of his question, it's really good to begin to look at the differences between a soulmate and a long-term partner. Sometimes they mesh and they're one, and sometimes the soulmate completes their purpose, with the other person, and it's time to move on. Many times there's a lesson, and when the lesson is understood or the energy between the two people are not in alignment, and it's clearly not going to be in alignment, that's when the relationship will naturally dissolve. And you can usually feel it in your heart when it's over, because it feels basically over, and when you're just paying lip service to the relationship. So they may always and still will be your soulmate, but that doesn't qualify them as a long-term partner. That is something that is co-created together, and it's intended and manifested together. That person who falls away could also be leading him or her, whoever this could be, leading them to the relationship that they're truly desiring to have. But they wouldn't have got there without this past relationship showing them the way. So I hope that answers that first part. The second part was, what was it about having many soulmates?
Yeah, in a person's lifetime, how many twin flames and or soulmates can one have? It can be one, right? Because the word twin denotes two, but that's just me.
Yeah. So once again, I'm going to have to differentiate between the two. So twin flames, you're basically one in the same soul. Now, the general understanding with the community about twin flames is because it's twin, there's only two. But I believe, and from my knowledge, when I talk to my own inner guidance and my guides, is that, and from other people who I know, that you can have more than one twin flame. I know a woman that I lived with who is a psychic. She has 7. We have 3.
Wow.
But our other twin flame is not on Earth at this time. So so that, hopefully that answers the twin flame part of it. You could have a number of them, but the purpose is different than a soulmate. And a soulmate, like I was saying before, anybody who kind of joins you on your path that you feel kin to is basically your soulmate. It's whether or not you both are aligned in creating and maintaining a long-term partnership. So there are some soulmates that you will feel that it feels like they are your best divine complement. Not everybody has their twin on the planet, but there are soulmates who are in your highest and best interest to be your spiritual complement than perhaps other ones who just kind of serve their purpose and then dissolve away.
He says that you've answered all of his questions.
Nice.
Good.
I have some tough ones.
Yeah.
Bring them on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, tough ones coming up. Tough ones. Okay. I think that I want to ask him on behalf of people that I know.
Sure.
People that I know that are probably watching, or I invited to watch. Maybe they're being shy. I don't know. So what if someone's going through a divorce? Because this is I think this is where it gets real. I think this is where the stakes become. I mean, if you're in Vegas, it's hard to get any more real than divorce in the terms of relationships, right?
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone that's going through divorce, has kids, house, going through all that mess? What would you say to someone like that? And I'm sure they would want to know, did I lose my soulmate? Was that my soulmate? What do I do now? That kind of stuff. So I'm asking on behalf of the single moms out there and everything.
Like when you have... Sorry.
Drew, what were you saying?
Like, I'm just saying, I wanted to add to that, like, especially when you haven't been in a relationship in a long time, maybe like 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, how do you get back into that? Right.
So the two questions there. So Jacob's talking about. Are you talking about if you're in the throes of a divorce? And then I feel like
Oh, okay.
Drew's talking about if, like, 5-10 years later, if you've been divorced. Am I getting you guys correctly here?
I'm saying, like, if you've been married for a long time and you're just like kind of now newly single, right?
Oh, okay. So if you've been married for 5 or 10 years and you're
That's what I was talking about. I was just adding to that question, like, never mind. Maybe that's something totally different. I just thought that it was an additional.
I think no, Drew. Let's add a follow-up question. I think it's a great follow-up question. I don't think it's a bad question at all. I don't think they think it's a bad question. They just want to distinguish the two.
Right,
so
right.
I'm not totally sure if I understand the question. You're saying that if someone's going through a divorce in that place, or if they're finished.
Yeah,
with the divorce,
I know someone close to me that is going through a significant challenge through divorce, and
right.
What would you say to them watching? I'm formulating questions on their behalf. Like, what would you say? Did they lose their soulmate? How do they know it's best this way? And what would you say to grow through these pains and these doubts and these these feelings? What would you say to someone? Because when you're single, you're single. It's just you. Yeah, it sucks. But you're gonna fight it out. When you're divorced, you have kids. Now there's so many stakes on the table. What would you say to them?
So the first thing I want to communicate to that person is there's nothing that can happen that's bad. There's nothing that's occurred in your life that was wrong or that wasn't supposed to happen for you. Everything that is happening is in your best and highest interest and is leading you towards the best possible experience of life you could ever have. Because everything that has happened is teaching you closer and more in a more refined way what it is that you truly desire in your heart. What is it that you want to head towards? So if you're in this experience, if you just got a divorce, right? First thing you want to do is get your bearings straight. You just got out of a relationship. If you have kids, your lives were intertwined. You want to make sure that first that you're stable in yourself. Once you're feeling stable in yourself, you've got your finances handled, you're okay with your health, your kids are getting everything they need from you, your other relationships are good, you've got a good co-parenting relationship with the person you divorced. I would say that, you can't really, and you haven't lost anything. Your relationship is just transforming into a new level. And maybe it was because it didn't work out. It didn't work out because you didn't understand how to handle the relationship well enough. Maybe it didn't work out because you're growing together in separate ways. Maybe it didn't work out because of something either of you were unwilling to face. Well, now you're going to have a new opportunity to face that thing you were unwilling to face. Now you're going to have a new opportunity to grow a relationship, if that's your desire moving forward, grow a relationship with a stronger foundation, using all the lessons that from the previous relationship, from your divorce, in a new relationship, something that's fresh, that feels easy and light, isn't weighed down by all these old arguments that you had with this person, all these old grievances that you can now let go of. You can now release yourself. You're free of all the old fights and grievances. The only thing that you need to do with this person is, co-parent in a lighthearted, easy way so that your child is getting everything your child needs. And beyond that, that's all you need to do with that person, other than say, thank you very much for all the lessons you taught me. I'm going to move forward in my life seeking out something even better. And I really appreciate what you did for me in that marriage because it taught me so much, because we were able to go so deep and we were able to get so intimate that I learned so much. So now I can build something even better. And maybe it's going to take me a few relationships. Maybe it's going to take me a few years or decades to get back into the place where I was with you, but I honor where we were, and I honor myself and my path moving forward. I honor the idea that I can have an even better, even more beautiful life and relationship moving forward because that's who I am, because that's what I'm meant to do and meant to have. And I see you, and I see you moving forward, and I see you having a wonderful, spectacular, amazing relationship moving forward in your life. And I see us being mutually respectful towards each other. So your friend didn't lose anything. Maybe that was their soulmate, and that's great because if that was your soulmate, that person taught you so many lessons, so that they served their purpose together, and now they can evolve and move forward, and maybe meet another soulmate, maybe meet their twin ray, maybe meet some other stepping stones that are going to teach them other lessons that are going to bring them forward in their life, in their spiritual growth, in their life experience.
Nothing is ever truly lost, as Andrew was saying, because everything is energy. And if we look at everything and the world as energy, we know that energy cannot be destroyed. Not even death can destroy energy. It just changes, it mutates, it transforms into a new form. And this is all that happened in these people's lives and in their relationships and divorces, is that the energy changed into something else. And that's it. It's just about accepting that and saying, okay, well, what do I do next?
Well, I love it. I think that that's really awesome. And wow, why do you feel that the world isn't communicating? Oh, Kate does have a question, by the way, so don't forget that. Why do you feel that we don't hear these, like, hey, there's no such thing as a mistake, you know, everything that's happening to you is for your own benefit? You know, how come we don't hear about this in Hollywood? Like, how come it's so devastating when a breakup happens? It's like, oh, you know, it's devastating. How come people don't just sort of say, well, you know, I went through a breakup, but you know what? I learned so many lessons, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's something more like this. Like this, I think this is kind of the breakup way. This is the breakup face. It's almost like
there is an agenda in Hollywood and in the government to keep people limited, to keep their consciousness in chains and shackles, and not believe in our own unlimited nature, and believing that we are all God in action, and in God we shall trust that. As long as these people like Hollywood can keep us controlled to their own benefit, and they are basically the men behind the curtain, right? Which I don't like to get into all this, but it's basically no surprise to most people that we are not being told these things about being liberated and free and empowered, and this is what it looks like when you take on the perspective of not being defeated by challenges in relationships. Hollywood too shows a lot of unhealthy, dysfunctional relationships. Disney, everywhere. You know, so and like, how do you? There are really enlightened movies and networks, like I think Oprah. But what I think we're moving into in the future is a new sort of television where people will be seeing and hearing more evolved consciousness programming. As soon as these sinister forces are kind of moved, I think. But we still got to keep moving forward as people who hold the light.
I feel like on some level this has been an awesome experience for me, because I was telling you guys I'm into meditation, and a lot of what you're saying is really valuable to me, and even just connecting here today and knowing that you guys are part of this mission, I'm excited to know where you guys are going to end up and what this means for the world, because I personally got to say, you guys need to write a book, I think, because so people could just get some of your teachings and, you know, be available. Say they can't meet you, or say they're in Canada, they want to try your services.
Well, Jacob, there is a way that people can talk to us one-on-one. You know, there is a way that you, the viewer, can sit down with us, just like Jacob is, just like Drew is today, and ask your questions. Yeah. And we can, with you, through our sessions, work with you so that you can go through these things within yourself. We can guide you through your life's lessons to help you ultimately attract your perfect divine complement.
Yeah. Right. And so, and how is that? Do you want to tell us how to do that? I know.
Yeah. So we just spent the last week busting butt to get ready for this show. Our coaching program. So you can right now go to awakenedintimacy.net/work with us. And Drew, are you able to provide a link for these guys?
Yeah, let's see if I don't know if they can see it in the chat. Jacob, can they see it in the chat?
If you want to put it in the chat, I'll do my best to get it available for people.
Okay.
Yeah, so
we can put it on the Facebook group as well.
Yeah, so I see it there. So you go to awakenedintimacy.net/with us.
I had we have a question from Kate. She says, how do you get in contact with her guides? So she says you all have your guides. So Shalia has her guides, and it sounds like even has Ender has his guides. She wants to know how to get in contact or in communication with her guides.
Okay, so I'd love to answer that question. Before that, I'd like to finish my thought on how people can get in front of the camera with us and work with us directly. So you go to awakening.net/work with us. You click the button below that says "Get me my soulmate," and it's going to bring you to a form that you fill out, and it's going to give you a free 15-minute consultation with us. So anyone watching this show, and here's the special deal that we're offering to anyone watching the show by midnight tonight, Hawaii Standard Time. So that's 5 hours and 15 minutes from now. So you got time to think about it, check your calendar, whatever, get some food. By midnight tonight, Hawaii Standard Time, if you sign up for a free consultation with us, we will give you one free session with us tacked on top of whatever session you end up buying with us. Yeah. So the $120 value you get as a bonus just for signing up for a free consultation with us by midnight tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if anyone's, I've been reading enough. I think if anyone is sincere, likes what you're saying, it would be a little bit of a foolish action to not take you up on that because it's free, and you're saying, you know what, try us, get involved. Because even if someone were to just watch this one show right now and just listen to you guys right now, I think they'd have a whole new perspective on soulmates and what relationships have meant and what they haven't meant and all that.
This is the next level shit, right? I mean, this is like, this is very, very not reflective of what everyone was taught to believe what a relationship is. I mean, like, probably the majority of people who exist, you have no idea, right? So this is some...
I hope you don't mind if I interject you. I really like where you're leading with this. And I think a lot of people see a relationship as something that's really exciting for the first couple of years. And you have all these wonderful emotions, and then you get married, and then you kind of just go through life together, and you might have a few exciting things like you have kids or you buy a house or whatever. But they see relationships as something that you just, kind of is okay through life. But we see a relationship as something that's like a fruit tree, right? It's an opportunity that you invest in. It's like a powerful investment that you keep putting energy and effort into and continues to produce more and more and more over the years. Continues to deepen in love in a very tangible, experiential way. Continues to be closer and closer together. Continues to provide fruits that are pleasurable. Continues to provide experience and growth for each other as you grow together. That gets even more and more delicious as you grow deeper and deeper together, as you invest in it. So this old paradigm of relationships where it's exciting at first and then it dies down and is kind of meh is a total BS lie. And you do not have to experience relationships like that anymore. And we want to help you experience a relationship that has a constant upward curve, that is always getting better forever and ever, amen. That does not need to end at the end of your lifetime, that can continue lifetime after lifetime after lifetime until you decide to ascend off this planet, until you decide to do higher work as an ascended master on the planet, or wherever else you desire in the universe. That the two of you can always continue to invest in each other and always continue to grow and blossom forever and ever, amen.
Well, yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. I like that.
It's really important when a couple is in the honeymoon stages of their relationship to utilize that powerful energy to deepening the relationship, because I have found in the past people just rely on that energy always being present, or that they don't have to do anything or any work to create an amazing deep relationship. They just kind of go on autopilot, and that's usually a recipe for disaster, or you just get used to being complacent
because
and in
a
comfort zone.
Because I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
Because it feels so exciting in the beginning of a relationship, you think that it's always going to be that exciting. But we know scientifically that those chemicals will die down after the first 18 months or so.
Yeah.
So it's really imperative at that beginning stage of your relationship that you're using that energy to develop a stable foundation, to become really good friends, to develop a vision and a purpose together.
Yeah.
It's this vision and this purpose and this growing together that makes your relationship so delicious, so exciting, so that you're never going to get bored together. There's no routine. There's no boredom. You're always growing. You're always making it to the next level. So when we teach couples that, we teach individuals that in our sessions directly, we will teach you how to build that stable foundation early on so that you can have this blossoming fruit tree of a relationship for the rest of your life and eternity.
I love it. I love it, Andrew. Really.
The question, Caitlin.
Oh, yeah. Caitlin wanted to know how she finds her guides.
Her guides.
How she contacts them. That might be something that'd be better if we get into contact with personally, because that's gonna. I mean, I could go in forever about that, but.
One second.
Okay. So, Caitlin, if she doesn't have I'll tell her. I'm sure she can contact you directly. However, Caitlin, go to Awakened. That's AWAKENED. Awakened Intimacy, INTIMACY.net /work with us. That's just one word. So awakenedintimacy.net /work with us.
Oh, and make sure that you scroll down, right?
The Facebook page. Caitlin, if you still haven't found it, you can message us. Anyone who's still looking for it, you can message us. We want to say, before the show, and yesterday, we had said that we're going to give away a free session.
Yes.
So, Caitlin, in addition to all of these freebies, all of this extra stuff that we're offering all our viewers, we want to offer you one free session, 1 hour with us together. Absolutely free, no strings attached. You know, it's a $120 value. We really appreciate how you've been so active in asking us questions.
Yeah, thank you.
And we want to reward you and say we really appreciate that you've been so active and you've been so helpful in moving this this show along. So we want to give you that free session. So get with us after the show and we'll schedule a time to do it.
Personally? Y'all know Caitlin personally, or did she find us?
What's her last name?
Her last name is Slocum.
I'm not sure. She might be a Facebook friend. Do you know her?
I don't know. No.
I don't.
Right, I'm gonna go ahead and post the link anyway on Facebook.
Yeah, and then there's she can contact you guys on Facebook anyway, like your Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, contact us on Facebook. You can also find us at Awakened Intimacy on Facebook. We're a public figure.
Yeah. There's a Facebook page that you can like.
Oh,
yeah.
She said, oh my God! Like, in other words, so she's excited.
Good. Thank you, Caitlin. Congratulations.
So, Caitlin, for being a very interactive member of the audience, you get the session with Ender and Shalia. Okay, so we're getting to I guess we've been on for about an hour and a half, and that was sort of our target. Any last questions, any last sort of trailing questions? Because I have plenty to ask. However, I have a lot, but they've most been answered on some level. And I know I talked to Ender yesterday, so what would you say to somebody like, how long is it going to take for, like, Paramahansa Yogananda in his lessons writes, if you're a celibate and you're not having sex and you're meditating and you open yourself up to God's work in your life, he says you could find your soulmate in about 6 months. So that's Paramahansa Yogananda. Yeah. How long do you think y'all would recommend to search for, anything?
I mean, it's arbitrary, man. Like Paramahansa Yogananda's 6-month thing, I don't know where he's getting that figure from. I don't know why he's saying that. I mean, if you're celibate and you're meditating, right? From his perspective, he's probably got a real way.
It is third person. I am speaking in, maybe I read it wrong, but that's a kind of what I read.
I understand the essence of the question. I feel like you got his thing right. Like, it doesn't necessarily apply to the lives of people today. I'm not saying you can't find your soulmate or your twin ray within 6 months. You might find it in 6 days. As soon as you make the decision to, as soon as you decide that you're going to have your twin ray, your true soul's highest complement will make the same decision to find you at the same time that you make the decision to find them.
Yeah.
And there's no set amount of time between when you make the decision to find your twin ray or soulmate and when that appears in your life. Because that's entirely up to you and how you move forward through the challenges and stepping stones. How fast do you want to get there? You want to take the warp speed, lightning speed path to your soulmate or your twin flame? Well, ask that. Decree that. Say on paper, write on paper that I desire the fastest route no matter what it takes to get to my twin ray or my soulmate. And expect that that's going to be probably the most intense and hardest route. And as soon as you start experiencing that, you might say, wow, this is great. I hit some really effing hard things in my reality, but I know that as I move through these challenges, I'm going to find my soulmate or a twin ray faster. Or you may say, whoa, this is way too much, this is way too fast, I kind of want to work on X, Y, Z in my life instead and just kind of passively work on my soulmate thing, or I just want to dive in and out, right? It's totally up to you how you want to experience life and how fast or how slow or how easy or how hard or how quickly or how challenging you want the things that are going to bring you towards your soul's highest complement.
I think
Right.
what
That's a good answer. I like it.
was mentioning with his process with the celibacy and the meditating in 6 months, I think he was really indicating that there's a purification process that will lead you to your highest divine complement. And for me, I felt like I went through that personal purification process, although I was able to accelerate it in a matter of 4 months when I did my love list, because I was starting to clear out my house. I was clearing out a lot of thoughts, limiting negative thoughts and beliefs about myself, being ugly and I was insecure and how could I ever attract this guy? Like, this guy that I'm writing on my paper is a total babe. Am I a total babe? Like, and it was just about, you know, but these are things that people go through, right?
I think that was an honest. That was one of the most honest moments where you said, I wrote down, and he's a total babe. Am I a total babe? Like that was pretty funny. It was like, you can imagine you're in a room somewhere, and you're like, it's just paper, and you're talking to it. Like what the hell, man? It's funny. It's fun.
And for me too, when I was going through my purification period, I was also opting to be celibate for at least 6 months because I knew that that was going to be about my breaking point where I would want to get laid, only because of how accustomed I was to having sex for quite some time.
Wow, you guys are freaking honest as. I mean, you guys are honest. So that was actually brings us back to our other question. You guys bring I understand as far as what you're saying because I think a lot of us are gonna feel that way. So then the thing is this, you know, how do y'all deal with jealousy? Because that's something I've never been able to really overcome in a committed relationship. When I don't care about somebody, I don't get jealous. I just don't. It's like, whatever, dude. Like, you're a person, you want sex. That's not new. That's very biologically. That's what happens. But when I care about somebody, I become protective, and then if sometimes they say something that can spark jealousy, like I dated somebody and they were like, I'm going to sleep with someone else. Yeah, naturally that's going to make me jealous. But you know what I mean? It's like those kind of things, you know, how do you overcome jealousy? Because you all seem so comfortable, and I'm impressed. I know a lot about psychology in the sense of, I've been around people. You know how some things react and how people would take them. How do you all work through jealousy? Because that's a damn good question.
So what you're talking about, the experience of being jealous, is also biologically ingrained, I'd like to say. Because you're seeing that, we call it the milk of a relationship. You know, the milk is that thing that you feel right in the beginning of you know, meeting with someone, and you're potentially getting into a relationship. You're meeting a girl and she's so hot and cute and she's smiling at you and she's saying all these wonderful things and you're feeling really good, right? And Same thing for the opposite. If a girl meets a guy and he's so wonderful and gorgeous and he's saying all these wonderful things, this exchange is like the milk of a relationship, and it's on really heavy at the beginning because you're saying, this is what I've got, and the other person's saying, well, this is what I've got, and you're sharing it back and forth, right? And as you get into deeper and deeper into the relationship, right, you're giving milk to your partner, and your partner's giving milk to you. There's this exchange going on of milk, of these good feelings. And if you see your partner going out and giving those specific good feelings that your partner gives to you to someone else, well, geez, they're leaking milk, they're leaking energy from the relationship. And gosh darn right I feel jealous, because that's supposed to be my milk. That's supposed to be my love that I'm getting from my partner, and she's going out there and giving it to other guys at the bar. Now, what I'm not upset about, if Shalia goes out, we're out, and Shalia is, being kind and flirtatious and talking to other guys, there's a clear differentiation between I'm being nice to you and I'm flirtatious and fun and I'm not communicating in any way that you can get with me. Mm-hmm. I'm communicating that I'm friendly and fun and easy person to talk to. If I'm jealous about her doing the easy to talk to, being friendly thing, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
If Shalia is out there communicating to men on a subconscious level that, oh, this is what my man gets, here's the milk, that's what it's like to be with me, and other men are, oh my God, I want that, right? There's something wrong with what my woman is doing. Yeah. And I have every damn right to be jealous because she's giving away something that's sacred to our relationship.
Those are really good points. And so I'm wondering, I don't know how old you guys are, and I don't know if I should ask, or you guys are mystery to me because you act very mature. You act very mature, and yet maybe you're not as, I don't know. It's like interesting.
Well, this body is 29 years old.
Okay, good. Because I was like, are these people 25 and like really, really mature? Like, what the hell?
Well, wisdom isn't akin.
Your body's 29. Your body's 29. Yeah, good. I almost missed it. And
yeah.
Ender, how about Ender? Would you mind? Because I saw you guys act so like 35 or something.
Thank you. Well, I'm 26 years old.
Oh, really? So yeah, and you're really mature. So, like I said, I'm 32, and it's taken me so much heartache to even get to the level I have of my understanding. So I think for you at 26, Ender, to have that understanding of jealousy and the fine line between flirtatious for friendliness only to be good vibes versus, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like
it's something you feel inside your gut, right? If you feel a really wretched feeling in your gut when your woman or your man is out talking to someone else, there's something that needs to be going on there. But if you're just angry and you're trying to control your partner and you're like, she shouldn't be talking to anyone but me, well, gee, bro, you better take a look at yourself, or vice versa. If you're a woman and you're acting that way, you're trying to control your partner, you better take a look at yourself. Insecurity versus actual, loss of resources of the relationship. Every right to be upset and angry and frustrated and hurt for real loss of resources in the relationship, because that means you care.
Yeah.
No right to be controlling and angry and selfish with your partner. That has to do with your own stuff that you need to, your own patterns that you need to work through and look at and clear.
And also to be really clear on the agreement, the relationship agreement. How monogamous are you? What is and isn't appropriate in the relationship? It's very individual. I have some friends who only desire to be in a relationship where there's a lot of sexual freedom or flirtatious freedom. And I mean, partner has to be okay knowing that. And it was very clear in our relationship that it's not okay for either of us to approach an opposite member of the sex, flaunting our sexuality or throwing them our sexuality. That's like what he's saying. That's leaking milk. That's love. That's our nourishment. Now,
I like the milk thing y'all do.
But I would see it as a problem.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like the milk concept. And how do you know when you're there? Like, does it take time to cultivate that fine distinction of what you're speaking of, or do y'all discuss what boundaries y'all have or something? Is there a talk about the boundaries?
So this goes into the building of the foundation of the relationship. it requires getting really, really, really honest with each other on what it is that you're thinking and you're feeling and you're desiring.
Yeah.
And it's about building a foundation of trust where it's okay to be that honest. And you kind of test the waters and be a little more honest and a little more honest. And we got to the point where I would just say exactly what was on my mind and on my heart and what I was feeling, even when I knew it was going to be really, really bad.
Well, it was going to be hurtful.
But
but I'm so used to it now, it doesn't hurt anymore. He'll just be like, blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's your truth. That's cool.
Right.
You know, let's work with that.
So she sees it as not, it's not personal, right? I'm like, I'm feeling this, and I told her one day, like, not, a month or two ago, like, I really don't even like you. I'm feeling this, and I say this, and she's just like, whoa. And
I'm like, sitting there,
I'm like,
whoa,
whoa,
okay.
I said that, and then we worked through it, and I was like, why am I experiencing this? We talked through it, and after that, I really, I found the place where I really did.
There. Okay, stop right there, because y'all are talking about like things people actually can like. I think we can close up shortly after this, because you guys have been so insightful. So you get in an argument like that. You're saying, I heard you guys say that it can actually strengthen you to argue or something like that.
It's how you got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was in a relationship where every time we would have any sort of conflict, it would weaken the relationship and dissolve it so quickly. And I was like, how come we can't just learn from these arguments, learn from each other's egos or issues, and move towards something that's better? What is it in each other that we really love? Why are we really together if the littlest thing is gonna like knock us over, So we use the opportunity that comes to us through our arguments and our challenges to take a look at ourselves and to take a look at our relationship and make a different choice that moves us into a deeper level of love and well-being. So one of the things that's really important that's come up in our relationship is selfishness. And we realize we have selfish tendencies sometimes in our relationship, and we'll both point it out to each other, and I'd be like, you know what, you're right. I was selfish for not offering you food. Next time when I'm in the kitchen, I will offer you food, So it's
you guys are pretty awesome. Y'all are being very honest.
I just want to put one more plug in here. These fights are things that are pointing out areas in the relationship for improvement and areas within ourselves for improvement. So if you go about it with the idea that this is a challenge that the two of you are going together, and the fight is just, something is the upset that's going on between each other, then you can approach these fights or arguments differently as a growth experience instead of something that's going to harm your relationship or something that you need to avoid at all costs or something that you need to just, let her yell at you or let him beat you down or whatever.
So what's the best way to approach the fight? Or how did he tells you that sentence, it wasn't pleasant, Shalia, how do you interact realistically? Did you get angry? Did you get hurt?
Oh, when he told me that he didn't like me?
Yeah. I've heard worse than that. I've heard worse than that. So I don't want to pick on the.
I sat there and I was shocked, but I was also very calm because I was like, he's hurting right now. So the best thing I can do is just listen to him and allow him the space to speak his truth and vote his victory and see his whole healed state. There was a part of me that wanted to take it real personal and be like, fuck you, man, I'm leaving,
yeah.
I don't have to stand for that.
I'm guilty of those kind of reactions in my life.
But I knew that wasn't going to bring us the desired result that we needed, and I knew that he, in his own way, was reaching out to me for love and for healing. And he was able to come full circle and see that it wasn't even about me. It was about him. He was really just upset with himself and what it was that he was creating in his life. And it somehow surfaced in our relationship, and he brought it up. And I, too, was going through my own stuff. I'm not always likable.
Right? I know exactly what you're saying. It's great. I know exactly what you're saying. When somebody's mad at themselves, when someone's mad at themselves, and currently in the relationship I was in, I kind of saw that happening a lot. that they were sort of projecting their own anger at themselves at me, and that's sort of when I wised up to it, I was like, maybe it's best that this person be single for a while so they can sort of work through it, so they can, just grow up and sort of be there for themselves instead of trying to, in a way, think of me, trying to take care of me, because I don't want to be any more work for them. I'm not trying to be work for them. And in a way, they may see that I am.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? Because that was a big revelation for me, by the way. That took a while.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And sometimes it's best to learn these sort of lessons on your own, like without being in a relationship. For me, it's been really handy to learn them within a relationship, or else they wouldn't even come up if I'm single and kind of hunky-dory. I got my own life down. It's a really quick platform to use relationships as a tool of greater self-awareness and union with self, when you're able to look at the light side and the shadow side of what each are bringing to the table and start to work with them to heal it.
I really appreciate your input, everyone.
Thank you.
Ender, Shalia, I really, really do. Like, you have no idea. I'll probably have this on my, like, oh, by the way, like, this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to link it. I'm going to open the link, put it on YouTube, and then put it on my reading list. It's my new little trick. You know what the reading list is on the Mac?
I haven't read that.
No, I don't know.
I know what that is.
Yeah, you know what it is, right, Drew?
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a bookmark.
Yeah, it's like a bookmark. It's just sort of like I guess it's like saying this is a website that you treat like a book in a way. It's my reading list. I'll get that.
Okay, cool.
So in a way, I'll treat this interview with y'all like a book, and I think you could definitely recommend it to anyone, because it shared us so much today.
Yeah, and hey,
do you have anything, Drew, that you wanted to ask Ender and Shalia for everyone?
I was just gonna say, I think that we should, like you guys should give them a homework assignment of starting their love list. And
yeah, I agree, Drew. That's typically the first thing that we'll do for people when they come to the free consultation with us, is that we'll sit them down and say, well, if you're looking for your partner or your divine partner, have you written down all of the qualities that you can think of that you can desire for your divine partner? So anyone listening to this, the first step that we'll tell you in our book, that we'll tell you in session, that we'll tell you now, is write down all of the qualities that you could ever imagine in your absolute perfect partner. No holds barred now. Now don't write stuff down and look at it and be like, well, I can't possibly attract that and erase it, or there's no way this person actually exists, because everything in my love list seems so like absurdly like not going to work together. You know, all of these things that I was desiring in a woman, I had them written down, and I'm like, I'm going to have to date 10 women at once. You know, I'm going to need multiple wives. You know, I need to change my relationship paradigm to have this person.
I used to think exactly like that, Ender. I used to think that Hugh Hefner had the right idea, and then I figured out that probably wasn't true.
Yeah.
Hugh Hefner's milk is leaking out to all these women, and then they go, and all his love is just going. He's not able to invest all of this love, this energy into one woman and have it invest in itself.
Why do you think he does it then? Why do you think someone at that level would, do that?
I'm in no place to comment on whether or not, what Hugh Hefner is doing, what's going on in his mind and his body and his spirit.
That's very true.
I can speculate, but anything I say, it may or may not be true.
I don't know why.
I totally respect that. It's a very cool view. I've always looked at him as in my younger years, in my 20s, young man. You see someone with success, playboy, all the image, the car, the fun life, playboy, and so I don't know. At some point, it was like an emulation to aspire to, and then as I grew, I tell people one of the coolest things I could think of doing on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday or any day is meditating with monks, because I've never really done that, but I've done a lot of other cool things. So it's funny, it's as you grow, you sort of cultivate a different interest.
Definitely. So if anyone wants to sign up for a free consultation with us, we'll give you 15 minutes of our time for free, no obligation to work with us at any point after that.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to. Go to our website, awakenintimacy.net/work with us. We'll provide a link for you as well, in the YouTube video under this site. And for anyone watching the show live right now, I want to reiterate this offer that we're offering to people. By midnight tonight, Hawaii Standard Time, it's 7 o'clock right now, 7:16 p.m. If you sign up for a free consultation with us by midnight tonight, if at any time later on down the road you choose to buy a session with us or buy a coaching package with us, we will give you one additional free session with the both of us, $120 value, absolutely free, just for signing up for a free consultation by midnight tonight. And there's no obligation.
Coupon code?
No coupon code. We'll
okay.
see it come through, by
okay.
midnight tonight.
Never
So
mind.
we'll know who you are. We'll write your name down, and all of those of you who sign up for the free consultation by midnight tonight, we'll tag you. And if at some point down the road, there's no obligation, you decide to purchase a session with us, we'll give you an additional one for free.
Awesome. Well, you guys have been awesome. I look forward to talking to you and hearing from you all. In closing, Drew.
I feel like we could do this for like 5 hours.
Yeah,
I know. I was just thinking that. I'm like, I got so much to say. I could keep going.
Yeah,
on.
we've got so much to say.
I don't want to stop you. I just look. If you have another 10 minutes, please. I'll just brew some coffee and we can wrap it up then. There's no set thing here. If you guys want another 5-10 minutes, just say the word. I'll get up, get my little coffee.
It's late.
You guys talk.
It's very
I'll
generous
take
of
myself.
It's getting pretty late here. We've been working all day.
Well,
We're ready to take a break and relax, eat some food, get some drinks here.
But yeah, we definitely enjoy having this
Awesome.
discourse and this opportunity with you guys and with the world. Thank you so much. We look forward to any sort of future opportunities to work with people or just to open up and have a conversation about what it is that we're talking about with the new paradigm of relationships. So
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us here on this journey.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for coming on. We had a good time. I was going to be more skeptical, but you guys sweat me up in your things. So.
I do always make an epic intro. Everywhere I go, every time I walk into a room. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'm going to push stop broadcast, but please don't go anywhere. We'll just say bye. I'm going to push the end button here. Thank you all for watching. This has been Ender and Shalia, two soulmate specialists. You can get the free consultation, 15 minutes, in addition to another consultation at awakenedintimacy.net/work with us. And you can find out how to find your spiritual guides and everything that they talked about here. It's been a lot of value they brought to it. Use this link, share it with your friends. Drew Cirillo, and I'm Jacob Adams. You all have a
Have a great night, guys.
You
Thank you
too.
so much.
Peace out.
Peace.